Hi, Connect Groups, and good morning. Happy Friday. We're in 1 Peter 3 and verses 8 through 12. The end of the series on relationships, where we first heard about our relationship with government and our relationship with our employer, our relationship with husband and wife, and then our relationship really to all. And so on this fourth segment, Peter brings a lot of these things together. And what I find so interesting is that whether we're talking about a government relationship, family relationship, work relationship, Peter's calling us to think about being blessed in our life, not necessarily because of any of those relationships working well or not working well, but because our own life is yielded to the one who can bless. And so that God is alone the one who can bless. This is so important for us to remember that Peter's writing somewhere around 60 A.D. and the government source of tyranny was Emperor Nero. And so he's reminding Christians and calling Christians, many of whom were Jewish in their ethnicity and then accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord. He's telling them, you can still be blessed. You can still live under the blessing of God, and then gives us the understanding of what elements reflect that blessing. What do we need to do to live in that blessing? And so we want to engage that. There's 5 things that are at the top of his text, which kind of, for me, gave a lot of challenging points of reflection. I want to submit them to you and ask you to read the whole text and then think about first, which of these 5 do you want to grow more in right now? At this point in your life, which of these 5 would you like to grow more in? The first is unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, a tender heart, and what I'll translate as a humble attitude. Which of those 5 would you like to grow in? Secondly, as you read the the text, you'll notice there's a quotation from Psalm 34. And again, I love that Peter, as we read earlier, the book of Acts, when he first entered the public ministry, right away the kind of learned crowd, the academics, the elites, those in leadership politically and socially, looked at him and said, this guy not even educated. But then here we are, God using Peter, and we're showing now through our own reading of his quotations that he has learned and grown. And I want to encourage all of us, when you hang out with Jesus, when the Spirit of the Lord is with you and he leads and guides you in all truth, it doesn't matter about our worldly education. What we want to reflect is the character and wisdom that comes from the Lord. And that begins when we fear the Lord, according to Proverbs. So Peter, here he is drawing this great understanding of blessing from Psalm 34. He's reaching back into the first covenant and he's saying, let me help define the second covenant with you. And here's what it looks like. And so as you read that quotation from Psalm 34, would you on the flip side say, here's an area that I'm struggling with. Maybe it's keeping our tongue from speaking evil or deceit, or I'm struggling to turn away from evil. Or conversely, I'm struggling to do good. I'm kind of complacent. I'm struggling to seek peace. I'm struggling to pursue peace. Maybe we're angry. Maybe we're frustrated. Maybe we're disappointed. Maybe we're let down. And so I want to encourage you in your conversation to, of course, remind one another that we're keeping confidence, having that trust in the group, that you can share something personal or vulnerable and know that it won't leave the group is really important. But if you would share on those 2 ends of the spectrum, some area that you'd like to grow more into, and some area where you say, I'm struggling with this. And according to the scripture, we were called that we might obtain a blessing. And whoever desires to love life and see good days. I hope that's you today. We know that that's our God, who's a God of goodness all the time. So we want to embrace his goodness, share in that, and the word that's often used to describe God's goodness and his impartation of goodness is blessing. So may God bless you. Have a wonderful time together.